16th, 2025 meeting of Special Education Support Services and Wellness Committee of the Carmel Central School District Board of Education. To anyone watching in the audience or watching later, this is also one of the first committee meetings we are streaming and recording with the new software, so very excited about that. And with that, we have one item on the agenda tonight, which is a recap and update on some of the stuff we discussed in the spring, but updated for the new student management system. But before we begin, public comment.
No, just analysts and extras.
All right, so with that, I'm going to hand the floor to Elizabeth Kennedy, who has a presentation on how synergy affects the disciplinary reporting. And this came up in the spring because we found that the previous system, which used a free-form text field for describing disciplinary incidents, resulted in data that was very hard to use because people were entering either all the same value or a wide range of values, some of them new each time. So now we have a chance to hopefully get a better view of, we've already determined that discipline is applied unequally to students with disabilities, and now we can maybe get a better feel for how that's happening. So with that, over to you.
Okay, thank you. CYs. Okay, so why don't we skip ahead to slide 9? Yes. Okay. So here is just a brief visual of all the good things that Synergy has to offer. We are in the very early stages of using it still. So what I have to share today may look a little bit nondescript, but I do have visuals to show of what the system looks like for when a disciplinary incident is entered, and then we can talk a little bit about the terminology that's used for the incidents. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So this is a sample student, Kristen Mouse. So I didn't want to take the risk of going through the platform, the personal or life. So these are just some screenshots to give a visual for now. So as you can see, it's generally the demographics, the student's information, and then when we go to enter a disciplinary incident, we can go to the next slide. So this is what it looks like when a disciplinary incident is being entered. I will say on the bright side, going through the system today, there really weren't very many for the whole district. As I mentioned, we'll still figure this out. But as you can see here, there's a drop down that shows the incident time, who it's entered by, if it was referred by an administrator, and then the referral date, the type of incident, location, and then there's a section for violations. There's a drop down in Synergy that also includes information about infractions that are against the law in some way, or meet some sort of criteria for something that we need to report legally. So, and then there is also the description. So I think what I see as different here as compared to what we were using last year is there is still a description, which is going to be the subjective, narrative of what occurred, but there is a little bit more drop-down information that's going to make it easier to pull reports and look at specific type of incidents where they occur and things like that.
Do you want us to ask questions per slide or save them for the end?
I'm okay with answering questions as possible.
So we have a question on this. So description, and this was one of the issues we had last year, is there was descriptors, but most of the time they weren't filled in. Is there a way to make this that you can't move on to the next page or field until there's?
I will ask about that.
I almost feel like looking at it, there are the little red asterisks, and I feel like that's the prompt that you can't then move on.
I agree, but
Right,
I don't know
so-
if I can see it on that one, because that to me is the most important one.
Yeah.
what actually occurred.
Because these are filled in and then these are not,
I guess it's a touchdown.
it is a touchdown.
We're learning something new every minute here today, so, I can certainly ask and find out if we can make the description, one of the required fields with an asterisk next to it.
But if we can't, then maybe each building principal needs to send a memo that though you can move on, in Carmel, it's a required field.
I think just having filled out
Oh, you use
thousands of
this?
these forms, not this particular form, but whenever any form I've ever filled out where there is a required field, hit the space bar a few times and you filled in the required field.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
would've
there's
never known
no
that.
text required, it's just a matter of having entered some characters. So ultimately, there would need to be a directive to require a descriptor.
I think
Not
that's an
just-
extremely important thing, because that was one of the problems we
Right.
ran into last year, is that we really didn't know, like, okay, this person got, I just, whatever, something, but depending on who, there was no, like, nobody knew what it meant to the person who was filling it out, there was no real information, right? So I think that that's a really important box.
Now, for the violations top down, you mentioned that that includes a good state law enforcement referral. There's illegality. Does that also cover, for example, Title VI violations?
Can we see the drop down, or, oh, it's not live, right? We don't know it is in there.
I can try to pull it out. I'm just,
Like, would it be like a DASA referral, a title
Exactly.
referral,
I
a
didn't.
law enforcement, SRO referral, like,
I didn't see that, but what I did see was some of the options that were like weapons violation or illegal substances, and then
So
there was
do we-
qualifying criteria.
do we have the ability to put to program the boxes, or is it only what Synergy is putting on?
I think that it's a mix of both, but that's definitely a question that I'm going to, I think some of it is generated by what the law dictates a little bit, and then part of it is also the district will need to work.
Yeah,
out.
because if we put, where we do have, because our policy obviously says in compliance with DASA, that if, where there's a report, if it is DASA relevant, it needs to be referred to the DASA court. It would be good if we could capture that here.
Yeah, like have maybe also, if it makes sense, maybe add another line that says DASA, yes, no.
And,
Okay.
and that, not to sort of get ahead of myself, because it's something I'll raise in all business later tonight. When Joe McGrath was here, he had promised us the Movie in the Stars, but also on a form where people could make a DASA referral online and have it entered into the student management system. I guess eventually that turned out not to be something that was tackled because we were moving anyway. But is that possible now?
So we have been using something called Droplet for the online capturing of the DASAs. I am not aware of Droplet transferring right to Synergy, but I do wonder if instead of Droplet, maybe we can use Synergy.
Exactly,
yeah.
because I know if I remember correctly, Droplet results in an email, but it's not like in a form where we could tabulate it and see the numbers.
That makes sense. I will ask, I think that's great, because then that would also consolidate everything into the same spot. So I will ask about having the online DASA form available on Synergy.
Thank you. I like the little background noise one.
Oh. It's letting us know. And as you can see, so this is in the example of a student who perhaps just moved to their district and they have an IEP. What you see up on the right is a few that would appear for anyone looking at the student's information. And it's hard with the subtitles, but on the upper left, it says, I believe it says personal or says something notification. It's another notification available. So obviously this is blank for this particular student. I wasn't able to enter in a fake disciplinary incident for her. But if there wasn't a disciplinary incident, it would show up there. And then you can also create a log, and that'll be in the next slide that we'll see. So if there were disciplinary incidents, we would see them below that section right there.
Okay.
I have a question. So you see the IEP up there. If you installed a bit because the child had had the same behavior numerous times over, are you gonna have that bit flagged up in the upper corner so they know, okay, there's been 3 incidents, we're following this progression with this kid? I think that might be helpful too. If you had that up there in the corner highlighted,
Sure.
so they know that, like, there's something that we've already looked at, and did something fall out of practice that caused this, or does this child just need more structure?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think we can definitely put up a flag about a behavior intervention plan. The specifics, I will have to get creative with that, but
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Well, I don't know if we need specifics, as long as this is just for information, right? So
Yeah.
if someone's alerted there's a bit, then their responsibility as
So
an educator that's working with that child would go read the bit. We don't have to provide the specifics.
Well, I think you were wondering if it's like, at least if it's 3 incidents and there is something that's posted to the next steps, but
That's
certainly.
hopefully if there's discipline around it and we
Yeah,
know that the
I
child
think
has behavior
as long
intervention,
as it's up in
we're
the
revisiting.
corner is good, because they would be hopefully pulling the child's IEP if they saw the IEP flagged in the corner to see if that is a manifestation of the child's disability, or
Right.
if this is a scenario that, needs to be addressed, or both,
Yeah.
you
provide
know.
some context. Definitely. So more to come, but that is a very brief overview of what it looks like so far.
Thank you. So, yeah, maybe as we get into October, we can do our first month of steps in this and see. As I said, proofs in the pudding, see how we can actually categorize.
Well, you know what, I really, is this got all the data from the original thing?
We can go ahead to what we had in June.
Yeah, can we look at the data,
From June.
from June? Yeah, just because I'd like to have a goal, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, something, even if we do something simple, like we look at, if I can remember correctly, like, okay, maybe in here,
One more.
maybe. No, with the demographics, that's kind of where I wanted to look at, the demographics of discipline, I think we had that, right? I can't read the top, so I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
So we've got
That's
discipline by
comparison by
grade
grade,
level. We've got discipline comparison by number of incidents, classification.
Yeah, that would be the one, the discipline by classification I'd like to look at.
There you go. That's male. Let me see if I can do. So
Do we have like a full number? Like that's, this is,
all right,
where's
these-
I think we also have the raw numbers with that. Is there another slide on there?
let me just go. I can't see it with the.
This is-
All right, so.
I think it's like, it was a bar graph, if I remember correctly.
So that's number of incidents, female classification, then male, and then number of 24, 25 incidences by location.
And
Looks
again,
like
the no
20.
location is exactly what we're trying to solve.
And then this was by incident. Slide 20 was incidences by classification,
Okay, so that's just total.
correct?
Put down at 21 as well. Okay, that was by the grade level.
All right, so this might be interesting, all right. I gotta get closer, guys, I can't.
Can you go back to incidents
sorry.
by classification?
Slide 20.
I think it's on the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's by grade level, yeah, so by classification. So what are they?
That's, the biggest one is LD. So this is autism, emotional disability. This is LD, multiple disability, other health impaired, and
So what I'd like
Speech
to
and
see,
language.
because the way that information is presented, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not like 18% of the population is covered by each one of those classifications. So,
We actually talked about this in the spring as well. It should be normalized versus the number of people in
Right.
each classification.
Correct.
thank you.
So sorry, not to cut in, but I just think once the.
Is our largest classification is OHI though, right?
We actually ran those numbers.
Oh. You're not looking at.
Yes, we do, thank you, excuse me. Okay, so let me, so we have, yes, we ran the numbers today. It's actually, today, it's learning disability. Total number of students with a learning disability classification is 252.
How much?
252. And of that, 155 students are male and 97 are female. Other health impairment is a total of 193. We have 53 female students, 136 male students, and 4 non-binary.
Okay. Can you give us all of them?
For all of the
All the
classifications.
classifications, yeah.
The numbers, so the total number of classified students in the district today is 702. With autism, 91. Emotional disability is 11. Hearing impaired is 3. Intellectual disability is 4. Multiple disability is 31. Speech language impairment is 116. And visual impairment is 1.
Discipline slide per disability group. Tell me when you see it.
What was the number for all?
No, 7.
Thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So do you think our numbers were similar last year? The classification numbers.
They're probably relatively comparable.
Yeah.
I don't think they're between June and now, I don't think there's.
So it's really, really interesting that we have 116 classified as speech and language, and there's only 3 disciplinary issues. 3 disciplinary, whatever we're calling it, incidents. Yet, and autism. I mean, we have 91 students with autism and diagnosed with autism, with other children not with autism too, but with their classification as autism. 4. So what I'd like to talk about is why our LD and our OHI population are so unbelievably being disciplined at such a higher rate than our speech and language and our autism children.
Right, and to quantify that, just going to trustee Douglas's point, 35% of our classified students are learning disability, 51% of disciplinary incidents are learning.
I guess that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, but I'm not a math person like you, so I don't know how to do that way. But can you also tell me what is 702 today? What's the percentage of 702 of our total population?
So, it's the number of students who are enrolled today.
So around 4,000. I think we have like 3,400, right? Something like that. I'm just trying to see in today's day, what's the percentage?
20%, if I calculated that right.
I had an interesting conversation with one of the department chairs about that. And it was largely prompted because we had a tremendous amount of new entrants this summer. And so I was speaking to the department chair who's been here for decades. And he said, I think it's the draw of the continuum and the services that we have. And he said, because a lot of the folks that are transferring in are from the city, and then when they relocate, they're shopping, and they're shopping for where the best continuum is. And so it was an interesting thought. And that was the second time I've heard it within the last couple of weeks about, I think I was of the mindset of like, oh, you want to have a sweet spot of the 13 to 15%. Why are you beyond that? And now being here and still being relatively new and still learning the continuum, it is such a robust continuum. And I think it's a sales call in a lot of ways.
And I will say, I know that neighboring districts like Mayapack, and definitely at least Mayapack, have a similar percentage and then there's a couple of others. Brewster is a little bit lower, but a year and a half ago, we did a comparison of the neighboring districts, and we were in the middle. I think that we're still about there because a lot of districts are finding a higher percentage. So in New York, and in the Northeast too, there is generally a higher percentage of classification than in other parts.
So it's almost like the more social services in areas that are in the state, there are more students who discovered early than others, you know. I'm interested how we compare to like urban districts where there are options of interest network, but also.
And that's my question, because we look at these numbers, and is this anything different than in neighboring districts? What are the numbers in New York State? So if you compare people who get their high school equivalency just to one district, that's not an appropriate metric. But if you compare what the numbers are within the district, in our case Carmel, to comparable districts and the state, now that's an appropriate relative metric.
So I think statewide, it hovers around 17%.
No, oh, I understand the percentages, but I'm talking more about the incidence by classification.
And I would
Yeah.
beg to differ. I think that this other, I think some of these other classifications would have similar in other districts. I mean, I know
Yeah, I
for a
don't know.
fact that children, what I'm thinking is happening here is that we have a very robust program for students on the autism spectrum. We have a very robust program for children who are speech and language learners. Well, we may not have the same robust for an OHI kid that's just probably a lot of times in the general ed setting and not having the support. And what we're seeing is incidents of discipline rather than building the continuum around kids that are not in specialized programs. So that is what I think is happening. Could be completely wrong, but I remember, Jordy, I go to a lot of districts and see a lot of programs. Our kids that are OHI are, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think, these are kids that are going everywhere. So these are not specialized programs, like we have specialized programs for our children on the autism spectrum, and we have specialized programs for children that are speech and language learners. So those kids are surrounded by a robust amount of support, which is why we're seeing less incidents
Right.
of discipline.
And
That's what I think
And
is
the whole-
happening, and I'd like us to
yeah,
find
I
out
would
if that
hope-
could be correct, and if it is correct, that's my goal. I would like to see those numbers drop.
Right, to drive this spectrum, if we have more analyzable data coming out of Synergy, something that would be a good test case for that is, are students on the spectrum seeing disciplinary incidents in the hall, in the cafeteria, but not in their classroom? Whereas students with LD might be seeing it, or
Everywhere.
OHI might be seeing it in their classroom as well.
That's a very good
But
measurable piece of data.
so I'm not drawing any conclusion from this, because without knowing what the numbers would be in other districts, I can't get a reliable comparative metric. But I also would like to see, instead of number of incidents, number of students.
We have that.
So
We got that last year. It was similar. There wasn't that many students that were unique.
Right.
It was small, Jordy.
There was initially a feeling that
Yeah.
there might be a few students
Right.
responsible for many.
We asked that.
Plus-
It wasn't. We were told it wasn't. Yeah. It was
Work out.
it was like very small, like maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. It didn't change the data much.
I think something that may impact the information that you're looking for is the newly created RISE program in the middle school that specifically was I think targeting that kind of
Is that A
population.
school model that we're looking at?
There's a couple, actually.
RISE is for students who mostly might have a learning disability and need some more structured support than perhaps they would receive in a class that's about 15 students or it's more wraparound type.
So is RISE a program or is RISE
It's a special class. The acronym is Reaching Individual Success Every Day. So
it's a 15?
it's a 12
It's a 12. All subjects?
for the core subjects, for the core subjects.
So it's a new program
Correct.
but it's a 12 one, so it's a special class on this. So So we,
In addition.
we are adding a service on our continuum under 12, under special classes in 12-1, and we're hitting out children with learning disabilities.
In addition to, which, another rollout of, Second Step, which is an SEL program.
Yeah.
So
That'll
we may
tie,
have a different result.
Do we have one section of it, two sections of it,
just one at this time.
and is it filled? What do we have in it?
Number of students in it right this time, I don't have
And
it.
it's starting at 5th grade?
56.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's at 36.
It can be a
It can be
combined.
third quintet.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
right.
right. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand. It's fine. I understand the continuum, what we have our offering.
I just thought I'd mention, I just looked up the New York State report card for all enrollment across New York State, 2023 to 24 school year. The data on the percentage of students who receive special education services. 19%.
It's going up.
If, unless there's any other questions, I'm happy to talk a little bit about what we're doing to try to help make sure that there are robust services in place within and also outside of special education through MTSS. Unless
Yeah,
there's
that's fine.
Okay, great. All right, so a big focus for this year is our multi-tiered systems of support. And MTSS encompasses all of the supports that we provide all of our students, including, but certainly not limited to, those who have IEPs or 504s. This overall structure focuses both on academic interventions and supports as well as behavioral interventions and supports. So in the past, we used to hear a lot about RTI, and one of the struggles with that was that districts had a hard time figuring out if it's RTI academic, RTI behavior. So now the new terminology is MTSS, with RTI being the focus, as response intervention being a focus on academic interventions and achievement, and then positive behavior intervention and support, PBIS, is the behavioral side of the focus here for MTSS. And I found that this umbrella visual is helpful with trying to grasp it. So we'll talk a little more about what our goals are for this year. So we are really trying to establish and then build our capacity with building level and district-wide practices and expectations. We want for every building to have a core MTSS team, to have goals for the building that pertain to both academic achievement and also providing social emotional learning and behavior support for all students. We are focused a lot on the outcomes for our English language learners, especially at George Fisher, and also our students with IEPs, especially at Matthew Patterson, since those are both schools that have been on a improvement plan over the past year. So we are really committed through this work to trying to maximize the district's growth and outcomes with looking at disciplinary referrals. So this goes back to what we were talking about with the data. I know we all had a moment of maybe a sticker shock, I'm not sure, when we saw some of the spikes with the grade levels last year, when we looked at the comparison across grade levels. So for example, with MTSS and the focus on PBIS, we're really gonna try to work on those areas and ideally focus on seeing a reduction in those areas that we saw a spike with disciplinary referrals. And
With focusing on like the youth and now the 12th grade where we saw like their numbers were higher. Kind of scary for the 12th grade because they're
Because the last
essentially
graders are
going out the
really-
door.
Yeah, and if there is something about the 7th grade experience that students had last year, we wanna make sure that that's not repeated in a way that, might have contributed to those numbers, so looking at that as well. And so, looking at the work that we're doing with social emotional learning and trying to build consistency, that is a very big focus of all of this. And so what I can show next is some resources that we are.
Can I ask a question before you move on? Could you tell me, like, who makes up the team, the core MTSS
So right now, that's something that we're working on, but what it typically is the principal, usually the school psychologist, and often the school social worker. And then for the student who is being referred, one of their teachers. At the elementary level, sometimes the team also includes speech language therapists. It can happen at the upper grade levels too, but I would say that as far as the core standing members, it's the principal, school psychologist, a social worker, and a teacher who teaches the students.
Very good. Excellent.
So one program that we are working with, that we were able to get licenses for all 5 buildings. There's a program called Everyday Speech. It sounds like it may be something that's only used in speech language therapy, but it's actually something that can be used in, and is used in classrooms, at homerooms, other opportunities that students have outside of something like a related service like speech. And it really focuses a lot on social communication. And with that, social skills and developing overall social emotional skills. So there's a few different elements of this curriculum. It has whole class lessons. It also has specific lessons for students who might receive counseling as a related service. And it can be applicable across grades K through 12. So there's a couple of sample lessons here. We could watch one. The benefit of what happens here with Everyday Speech is that the lessons, the videos are very short. They're usually like 1 to 3 minutes. So it's a great, more than just a conversation starter, but definitely a great conversation starter. So a teacher who might not have any experience with teaching, or a teacher who is new to things SEL would be able to use this and work with it. So we can watch one. So they have one thing called Deep Breath Academy. We will go to that in a minute, but for right, because that can apply to all the grades. So why don't we click on,
And this is available for, we at staff development, teachers have learned this, all of them.
there are teachers, not every single teacher, but there are teachers who have been using it, and we're working with it right now. The goal is to get everybody to feel comfortable using it. There are a lot of teachers throughout the district who are using it, and our goal is to make sure that everybody is aware and ready and able to use it. Yeah, that's the focus. So why don't we check on thinking about others' feelings? Will that work? It made me double click and then,
In here?
yeah. Hopefully the video.
Are you sharing the screen or are you sharing one of the tabs?
I guess we were trying to click on the,
Right, but when you project, if you're only projecting a tab,
okay,
that's not gonna change. You'd have to project a different tab or project the
okay.
screen.
Is that an option? Hold on.
I think I just had to end the, there we go.
Okay. And this is for younger.
Thinking about others' feelings. Hi everyone, how are you feeling today? I'm feeling comfortable. Comfortable is when your body's feeling cozy, like in your pajamas. Or the way your heart feels around somebody you love, like your family. I wonder how my friend Sunny's feeling today. Where's Sunny? I don't see her anywhere. Is she behind a chair? Is she under the table? Oh, she's hiding in the plants. Hey, Sunny, you're looking comfortable. But look at Taylor. He isn't comfortable. You like sitting close to your friends, but Taylor doesn't. We all have different feelings. My friend Warren is learning to think about other people's feelings too. Let's watch him learn.
My phone goes back to your town where it's a pieces. No, it's mine. Nothing could stop my flying car. Get away.
Warren looks excited. Does Miguel look excited too? Let's see what he's thinking.
Warren makes me so mad.
Miguel is mad. Warren didn't notice. We know Miguel feels mad because of the way his voice sounds and his body looks. If we only think about our own feelings, we can upset people. Let's watch Warren try again.
My phone goes back to your town where it's a pieces. No, it's mine. He's getting upset. I'll protect your tower with my flying police car. Okay.
Did Warren think about Miguel's feelings this time? He did. He made his friend's feelings important. Good job, Warren. Do you think Miguel had fun playing with Warren? Let's see.
Warren's fun to play with.
Everyone has fun when we think about other people's feelings. Sunny, did you see how Warren watched for clues on how Miguel was feeling? I like how you watched Taylor's face and body. Today we learned that everyone has their own feelings. We make other people's feelings just as important as our own. Thanks for watching.
So that's one example, as I mentioned, definitely for the younger grade levels. But what our teachers and staff have been using it have really enjoyed is that it does give the visuals and the real examples that the students see.
When would they be incorporating this? Like, is it in every, like they have that time in the morning in elementary schools? Is that where?
Yes, and then I know at the middle school, some teachers have used it during homework, and that's something that we're trying to promote as well.
Great. How many of like our total district has been trained on it? Because I know that's something that as a board, we hear like, you can't just roll something out and not train us on it. So.
Yeah, so the program, and this, I should mention, is kind of the program that we're using for like short spurts kind of when it comes to this type of support. So the program does tout itself for not having any formal training. But with that said, of course, we want people to know the purpose, the context, everything like that. So it's something
It
that's.
emphasizes how important we feel it is to actually use it.
Yes, great. So it's currently a work in progress. This is definitely one of our goals, is to make this and the overall effort with SEL consistently used district-wide across all of the classrooms. I would say the psychologists in the buildings have been very instrumental in turning information about this to others in the schools. And if we want to go next to second step is the formal curriculum that we are. This is our more aspirational goal for right now, because it does require
3 or 4 minutes on this, and then I do want to come again because I want to get a schedule in conflict with the day. I just like
understood. Okay.
Video?
Yeah, why don't we click on that? I think it's very short. And so this is an example of a SEL program that does require training. Just 1 minute.
I am a high school educator because I want to help students grow to their fullest potential. I want to help students discover what success looks like for them and to help them build the confidence to get there.
I want to help them connect. It's far from easy, but I didn't become an educator because I thought it would be easy.
Second Step High School empowers all of my students with the social emotional skills that they need to become the people they want to become, in and out of the classroom, today and in the future, long after they leave these homes.
That's better than easy.
Create a culture where everyone
Everyone is most likely to succeed.
So right now, what we're working on is making everyday speech available and accessible and as user-friendly as possible for everyone, because it's, it's quick, really doesn't require training, it's a great conversation starter, and something that teachers can fall back on if they don't have as much training in SEL as others. Second step is what we're working on, trying to get everybody trained in at some point in the next year or so, district-wide. It has more of a formal curriculum approach than I would say that as compared to everyday speech. So everyday speech is good for the short term and the quick lessons, and then second step is more of a comprehensive school effort, and that's one of the things that we're really working on for SSS.
Like a segment of like a grade that has an incident. And we know that there has to be restorative practices. Is then something that you guys are going to put into place with the restorative practices and the restorative circles that you do?
Yes, so this definitely supports that. So it's I think the efforts are intertwined. So restorative practices and circles are definitely a continued focus. These programs help students with the some of the core skills like compassion, thinking about others, just trying to develop those that toolkit. But yeah, restorative practices and circles, those are definitely part of the overall SEL effort.
So before we wrap up, two things we need to start thinking about future meetings. We have about 3 weeks to actually 5 weeks to the next this meeting. So I'm going to send, let's do that out of bed by email, especially, we'll see what's coming up in this semester. So far in the quarter so far, and yeah, sort of, we'll plan what the next meeting content is. The other piece is, I wanted to see if folks are amenable to moving the time of this meeting to potentially be on the days that we have the policy committee, just because right now this can virtually be audit by facilities and operations meeting, and I know there are folks who want to vote, myself included. I don't know if that makes sense or it makes more sense to even leave the school board and find some way to alternate them. It's a discussion we'll have with the larger board, but I wanted to sort of plant those seeds so that the district conservative can sort of think about availability.
So when you say that, you mean policy meetings on non-board event night?
Well, that's the question, is can we find some, if there's a regular schedule for those, we would be some mistake.
I personally can't commit to those. I have too many other
Okay. So is there any either, so basically, right now we have 5:30 to 6:30 allocated for this meeting. We have 5:30 to 6:30 allocated for other finance and operations. Same time, different room. Given that we only have 2 committees left, legal side policy, which is already free floating, the question is how can we make sure there's room for both of those?
Well, the other one is every board meeting, and this
Right.
is every other board meeting, so I think the only solution is that.
Yeah, the other
You would
option
go
is
to-
someone else we could fill in for the other, for the
Yeah.
alternate. ones. I'm
I
okay
think
with that.
that's probably all.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with
If
that.
you're comfortable with this, so you'll get to go to every other one and then every one of these. So,
Yeah, I'm
I
comfortable with
mean,
that.
I don't have a problem with that, do you?
No,
And
anyone
that's
else?
probably the best.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Good.
Awesome.
All right, so we meet again the second meeting of October, and we'll,
I have a couple of items that I'll send you on.
Thank you.
I'm thinking of.
excellent.
All right, great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, you. Have a great evening.